The Invincible War revealed countless worlds, but in each one, Mark Grayson wasn't a hero. He was the embodiment of power corrupted. These alternate versions left nothing but destruction in their wake, and what they didn't destroy, they broke in spirit. As they gave in to their darkest instincts, they became deadly weapons in Angstrom Levy's twisted plan, to shatter the very idea of who Invincible is supposed to be. One of the most talked about versions, the Invincible, who hides his face behind a pitch black mask. If you missed it, check out our last video where we dive into the darkest versions of Mark Grayson, their battles, their fates, and the moment they gave into the darkness. You'll also learn how the animated series differs from the comics. Today, I want to focus this episode on an Invincible that many fans believe actually survived. We're going to break down the theory, is it really possible that this version of Mark Grayson not only survived, but managed to escape the wasteland dimension? I'll give you my take, and I want to hear yours in the comments. Let's finally settle this. Is this Mark Grayson still alive or not? We're going to speak the language of facts, but fair warning, there will be spoilers and things might get a little messy. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Let's start from the beginning. Angstrom Levy begins gathering twisted, corrupted versions of Invincible from across the multiverse. His goal? To destroy the original superhero, the one he blames for his own disfigurement. Levy promises these evil Invincibles something in return, the chance to expand their own empires across reality. All they have to do is unleash chaos on the original Earth to ruin Invincible's reputation and legacy. This event becomes known as the Invincible War. Most of the villains are killed during the assault, but a group of 8 survives and eventually turns on Angstrom himself. In response, Levy banishes them to the wasteland dimension, a strange, desolate realm with no way out. And let's be honest, if escaping it was easy, those monsters would have done it already. They would have hunted Angstrom down and ripped him to pieces. But from Levy's perspective, he never meant to trap them there forever. He just wanted to give them time to cool off, to rethink their rage, and come back to him a little more cooperative. However, the sudden return of the original Invincible, now out for revenge, completely derailed Angstrom Levy's master plan. Mark confronted him for what he did to his world. The encounter left Angstrom badly injured. He lost an arm. Even worse, the technicians, the very scientists who once helped him recover, refused to heal him again. Instead, they gave him an ultimatum. He would now work for them. And just like that, Levy was trapped. He couldn't retrieve the evil Invincibles from the wasteland dimension, and they were left to adapt to its harsh, unforgiving reality. By the way, I covered the text in a separate video. Check that out if you want to know what they demanded from Levy. Angstrom worked for the text for several years, and through it all, his hatred for Invincible never faded. When he finally completed his assignment, he earned his freedom. But upon returning home, he learned that Invincible had supposedly died. That turned out to be a lie. Furious, Levy went straight to Mark's home, attacked Eve, and then banished Invincible to the wasteland dimension himself. Right in front of the hero's eyes, a horrifying scene unfolds. With those words, "Oh great, you're just in time for dinner," sinister Mark greets him, devouring the body of the Viltrumite Invincible, the same one who in his reality was able to defeat Spawn. In addition, we also see prisoner Mark and the presumed Emperor. With 8 Invincibles trapped in the wasteland, the question remains, what happened to the other 5, including Sinister himself? Sinister, with a twisted grin, invites Invincible to join the feast, commenting that the meat is fresh. This means the Viltrumite Mark must have died recently.
They think I planned it? I didn't think I'd be last. How could I plan it? We were desperate, starving. We waited weeks. We were dying. And he was such an asshole. I mean, he was us. We are all the same. But he was the worst. Then we got hungry again. And again. It kept not being me. Maybe I don't look tasty? Do I look tasty? I don't want to not look tasty. Wait a minute. Did we eat you already? We did, didn't we? Are you real? Oh, you're real, all right. And fresh. Fresher than that one.
Mark attacks him. But Sinister, clearly bored, is almost grateful for the fight. Now, let's clarify a few key details of the theory about the surviving Mark. It's believed that the surviving Mark convinced Sinister that he wasn't real. He's just an illusion, a mirage. His body isn't among the skeletons of the others. Take a look at this comic frame. We're shown 2 more fragments of the dead, but we can't identify them. We do know that prisoner Mark, the Viltrumite, and the presumed Emperor are dead, but there are still these other marks left unaccounted for. Since Sinister and Mohawk survived, we have 3 dead marks plus 2 unknowns plus 2 survivors. Sinister and Mohawk equals the 7th of March.ks total. 1 body is not shown in the comic frames. It's missing. Now, keeping all of that in mind, we come to the main arguments behind the surviving Mark theory. First, we're missing 1 body. Sure, you could argue that not every single detail has to be shown. After all, there's context. Maybe this body is just off panel, or maybe the artist simply made a mistake. Human error happens. The second pillar of the theory is based on something Sinister says. When he first sees the original Mark, he asks if he's a mirage. This might be because Mark's costume looks similar to one of the devoured Invincibles. Personally, I'd give the theory a point if their suits matched even a little in color or design. But as you can see, they don't. Then Sinister drops another line, that Invincibles don't weaken from hunger. The wasteland, he says, made him stronger, it forged him. While he's in the middle of delivering one of his over-the-top monologues about how much he's endured, how powerful he's become, Mohawk suddenly shows up and takes him out, at least for the moment. They needed to get out, fast. If they joined forces with the original Mark, maybe, just maybe, they could keep Sinister from killing them both. Mohawk hadn't spoken to anyone in ages, and now he was just glad to have someone to talk to. There was no water in the wasteland, which meant the Invincibles had to drink, well, their own sweat, and worse. Yeah, you get the idea. They ate each other. They drank whatever their bodies could produce, and they did it for years. A beautiful fate for a bunch of villains, right? As the saying goes, scum gets what it deserves. In the end, Mohawk manages to take Sinister down, striking, when all of Sinister's attention is focused on the original Mark. As he lands blow after blow, Mohawk condemns Sinister for his choices for turning the villains against each other, when they could have united, maybe even found a way out of the wasteland, or at least tried. Now, you're probably wondering, what's the point of all this? The point is, there's not a single hint or shred of evidence that anyone besides Mohawk and Sinister survived. We've reached the core of the theory. Let's go back to it. The surviving Mark supposedly convinced Sinister that he wasn't real, that he was just a mirage. But how do you make someone fully conscious and in their right mind believe that you don't exist? You can't. Not without powers, something that manipulates reality or time. And we know that none of the Invincibles had abilities like that. What Mohawk did highlight though was something crucial. He was starved for conversation, desperately. And that might just be the key to Sinister's madness. Because we know one thing for sure, he wasn't insane until the wasteland got to him. So, the theory says the survivor waited for the right moment and convinced Sinister he wasn't real? Alright, fine. But let's be honest, there's not a single frame that even hints at that. Sure, one body is missing, but we also can't identify 2 others. That's not evidence, it's just a gap. And here's what I keep wondering. How did this Mark even survive in the wasteland? What did he eat? Some fans actually believe he managed to escape the anomaly entirely to fly out, while stronger Invincibles couldn't not. To me, it still sounds like just a hypothesis. And honestly, I think the comic gives us more than enough reason to believe that every single one of them except Mohawk and Sinister got eaten. So now I ask you, what makes you believe in the surviving Invincible? Where did you first hear about this theory? And what do you think, is he really alive? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.